Hello everybody and welcome to Free UFC Bet Picks show. In this video we are breaking down Romanov versus Lima, and that is part of UFC Vegas 13 coming up this weekend on November 7th. So let's go ahead and just get into this fight here. It's a heavyweight bout between Alexandr King Kong Romanov and Marcos Rogerio de Lima. This is going to be a really exciting fight here. I just love watching Romanov fight. Heavyweight is probably my favorite division, and fighters like him are why. So he's our favorite at minus 278. He's got a record of 12-0, 8 of those wins by submission, 4 by KO. As I said, he's got 0 losses, undefeated, 12-fight win streak. He's got 1 win in the UFC, which was back in September, because this fight was supposed to happen back then and De Lima tested positive for COVID. So instead of facing De Lima back in September, Romanov went up against Martinez and got his first UFC win. I think that's all I have on this one. What do you think about this one, Aaron?
Yeah, really exciting one. As you mentioned, this fight was scheduled a while back. It was like a pick'em fight. And as everyone started watching tape, the line started getting steamed for Romanov. He started out minus 110, and he ended up like minus 170. And the fight got canceled pretty quick. There wasn't a whole lot of time for those bets to come in, and people were just pouring money on Romanov. The fight got canceled. He gets Rocky Martinez, who's a decent fighter. And Martinez did fine in the first round. Ended up getting submitted by an arm triangle in round 2. A lot of the experts are picking, Romanov to win for sure round 1. Romanov is a lock to win. And I think he's a lock inside the distance. But, it's not like Tom Aspinall versus Alain Badeau round 1 lock, like where Alain Badeau always gets knocked out in the first round type of thing. Rogerio de Lima is pretty durable. He used to fight at light heavyweight, and he was really shredded back then. He kind of looked like a small Cyril Gane. Now he's not in the best shape. He added on, not great weight to move up to heavyweight. He was just tired of trying to make 205. Kind of like a DC type of situation. He's a little taller than DC. But he's just not that great of a fighter overall. He throws heavy hooks. Everything he throws is super heavy. And you think of him, he's a jiu-jitsu player. You think he's going to not have great striking. He's just going to go in for weak takedowns and pull guard and stuff. Rogerio de Lima's really in there just trying to take people's heads off. Really exciting striking. He doesn't have that in him for 15 minutes, and he's not going to have that opportunity for 15 minutes. Romanov gets takedowns, but it's not concerning. You think, all right, this guy's dependent on takedowns. He likes to slam people. He suplexes people. He grounds and pounds people with the King Kong punches, like the gorilla punches. He submits everybody. He submits people with forearm submissions. But he's not really dependent on it. He's actually Romanov has really good striking, incredibly flexible and athletic. He's looking in good shape, but just 3 years ago, he was in terrible shape. He didn't have the facial hair, and he had shaved his head, and he looked like a big baby. He seriously looked like a huge baby in there, just slamming people, suplexing people, pounding them out. So he was kind of really entertaining back then, but now, he's taking this more and more seriously. He's only 29, I think, and he's 29, 12-0. He's taking this more and more seriously. Mm-hmm. He has stardom in reach now. He can see stardom, and he can almost reach it. I think he's going to get better and better for the next 10 years. Romanov is going to be an amazing UFC fighter for a long time, like a staple, an absolute staple. I think he might be one of your favorite fighters on Saturday if he's not already. That's what we've been talking about. And he's got a great chin. He's the most exciting wrestler you might have ever seen. I've never seen him hold position or stay still for a single second. Yeah. I'm not exaggerating. It is non-stop volume on the ground, and people do not know how to react to it. They look for a way out fast. Again, though, so it's not going to be round 1 necessarily. Sultan, Murtazaliev, took him past round 1. Sergio Freitas, that was, I think, round 1 victory, but Rocky Martinez took him to round 2. Romanov doesn't take crazy chances. He's not going in there like Ben Askren and going to catch a knee. Mm-hmm. He will show off some kicks, some like leaping kicks. And he gets guys backing up against the cage because it's so unexpected, and then he just goes for a takedown, picks you up, carries you across the octagon, slams you down, and 15 seconds later, the fight is over. Mm-hmm. Sergio Freitas, I think it is, pops right back up against the cage and gets suplexed. Like, if you pop back up after your first slam, you're just taking another ride. Mm-hmm. And after that, guys just don't want to be in there anymore.
Don't blame them. Yeah.
So he's just an incredibly exciting wrestler. I cannot think of a more exciting offensive grappler than Alexander Romanov, King Kong. Super excited for this fight. I think he could be like a minus 500 favorite. We were getting him at minus 255, minus 264. Now he's minus 300 plus on all sports books. So like we said, you wait at this point, wait till the props are out, get him inside the distance. Don't be too greedy. He likes to get submissions, but he also likes to TKO people. He kind of just takes what people give him. We all think of him for that King Kong ground and pound that I'm describing, where he's literally just hammer fisting with both hands at the same time. Really freaking entertaining. But there are times where he'll be super technical. He does not gas himself on the ground and pound. That's very key. He will look. There was times where, I can't. Maybe it was Sultan. Yeah, Sultan was only giving up the back of his head, and Romanov didn't want to hit the back of his head. He barely touched the back of his head once, and the ref stopped it. So in that, what is it, Eagle or whatever they were fighting on, is probably super careful about that. Credit to them, they should be. But he was very careful not to hit him in the back of the head. Starts going to town on those body knees, those knees to the back.
That was a little rough to watch.
He was like turning him red. Like he's putting these body knees on the guy because he's just in curled up position on his hands and knees trying.
No, those are so heavy.
Yeah. So he takes what they give him on the ground. He doesn't gas out. This guy is a future contender for sure. Him, like, I don't know, Tanner Boser, like if he wins his fight against Arlovsky, which we expect him to do, it's almost like two guys that you wouldn't want to put against each other because you don't want either one of these guys to lose. They both have, pretty exciting hype behind them, pretty exciting momentum and great futures. Like Chris Dawkins, same category, but Romanov, I think, would just beat them both in the same night. Romanov is legit. I think Romanov's about to be top 5. There's only a couple guys I think beat Romanov, and it's like Stipe and Francis and John Jones. Really not even exaggerating that much. Curtis Blades would beat him. Derek Lewis versus Romanov. Curtis Blades versus Romanov would be a good fight. Derek Lewis versus Romanov, good fight. There's only a few guys that beat Romanov, I promise you. And he's 29, and he gets so much better. Like I said, just 3 years ago, he was incredibly out of shape. We just saw Tuivasa look much better than he has previously. How different Romanov looks from 3 years ago is just, I can't overstate it.
Yeah.
And he's just now getting paid to be here. He's just now
just had his first UFC win. Yeah.
Exactly. This is the point where sometimes fighters get distracted if they don't have their heads on straight. This is a time where they get more fame and more money and more problems. Mm-hmm. But this is the time where if you have your head on straight, you start putting that money towards your own body, like LeBron and Russell Wilson talk about, right? Conor McGregor talked about that he needs to do more of, and it seems like he started. These are the times where people want to fly around the world to come train with you. And if they're fighting an offensive wrestler, well, they want to come pay you, Alexander Romanov, to help them get ready for that, right? This is the time where he starts getting better exponentially faster than he was getting better before, which was already an incredible rate of improvement.
Yeah.
We could go on and on. Both of our notes about this fight are just a full page.
Yeah. And to prove that I could go on and on, I realized I totally forgot to read DeLima's stats earlier because
there's another guy in this fight. There's another guy in this fight. There's two guys in this fight.
So, to go back and give you DeLima's stats, these betting odds might actually be outdated because you said Romanov is at minus 300 something now, and I have minus 278.
It depends on the book, but
DeLima I have at plus 215. He's got 17 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw. Of those 17 wins, 12 were by KO, so majority by KO, 3 by submission, 2 by decision. And then the losses, 6 of them, 4 by submission, 1 KO, 1 decision. But yeah, I really think Romanov is just locked in to win this fight.
Absolutely. So, people think of any Brazilian name, you think they're going to be great at jiu-jitsu. De Lima, like, that used to be his thing. He was, but then he just loves to kind of strike. He's been submitted more than he has submitted people. Like, he could not defend the takedown for the life of him. OSP, and so Rogerio de Lima used to fight at 205, like I mentioned. So he fought OSP. OSP beat him with a Von Flue choke. That was 4 fights ago. Romanov 4 fights ago was winning a fight by some weird, like, pressure top position. Not a Von Flue choke with the shoulder, just like a forearm strangling. And that was against a heavyweight, not an OSP caliber of fighter, not a UFC fighter, not a former contender. But, Romanov's been picking up heavyweights, throwing them around, and finishing them. And we're going to see that on Saturday for free.
Yeah. And to go over their DFS stats real fast, Romanov at 9,000, his average point per fight, which is just from the one UFC fight he's had, I assume, is 147.5. So that's pretty up there. De Lima is 7,200, and his average points per fight is 66.4. Are you going to be, you're clearly going to be picking up Romanov?
Totally. Romanov's probably going to be owned in like 90%. He's going to be one of the highest ownerships that you see in a while, except when there's a Kevin Holland situation where Kevin Holland's fighting a good fighter in Mahmoud Meredov, and then Mahmoud falls out, so we get in Charles Ontivera. So, Kevin Holland should be like 9,200 or like 10,000. It should be just a ridiculous price tag, but he's a pick 'em price tag, right? So like when those happen, of course everyone owns Kevin Holland. Of course Kevin Holland was going to be part of the optimal lineup, like we said. We said we don't care if he's owned at 80%. He's going to be part of the optimal lineup. You have to play him. He goes in there and gets the first round slam submission. We might see another one of those. Yeah. If there's a guy that's going to slam submit somebody this weekend, it's who we're talking about.
Slams
yeah, he'll suplex you. Like, people don't want it. They don't want to, like, break their wrists defending it. They don't want to break their collarbones. It takes the wind out of you. And, like, as you're, like, trying to catch your breath, these vicious ground and pound strikes are coming to you. You turn over, and then you're waking up because you got choked out. And so, Romanov must play in cash, must play in GPP. Doesn't matter. He's going to be part of the optimal lineup. It's a fact. And Rogerio de Lima, what was his price? 7,200. I think there's better punt plays. I would not play Rogerio de Lima at all.
Yeah, I don't. I hate to say this, but I don't really think he has a chance because I love Romanov and I'm a little biased.
So, and if he has a chance, it's by these vicious hook combos that he throws.
Right.
But it's not going to be relevant here. Rogerio, Romanov's not going to come in and just box with them and catch one of those. Romanov throws crazy wild kicks that he just covers so much distance, gets you to back up so much, and in these ridiculous scrambles, you don't get to throw 4 hook combos at him. It's just not a thing.
Yeah.
You're flying through the air, you're landing on your back and on your side and on your elbow and on your wrist, and God, like, this is why people box.
Yeah. All right, well, I think that about does it for Romanov versus De Lima. Our next video will be Chikadze versus Simmons. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you on the next video.